Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do that, let's talk about this week's tip. I've said in the past, when you get your notes, try a bunch of different places, find the one that gives you the best stuff, and constantly go back. That's usually how I get my stuff. I usually get my stuff from one particular source. But this week's tip, don't forget to check back to other locations because you always want to mix up your sources, mainly because you don't want to constantly get the same bills back. I do my part to make sure that I buy my bills from one location and then spread them out to a bunch of other locations. That way I don't get the same bills back. But don't be afraid to check other places as well for getting your notes. So that's this week's tip. Don't always buy from the same spot. Make sure to mix it up a little bit. If you've got a great source, wonderful. But don't forget to dip your line somewhere else every once in a while, too. All right, so that's my $1,000 in singles. Let's take a look at what I found this week. Starting off with a birthday note. This one it's backwards as far as birthdays are concerned, but the date is still there. This would be 1996, the 13th of January. Now, generally, birthday notes are always considered the exact opposite of what this is, which is where you'd have the month in the first two positions, the date in the next two positions, and the year at the end. That's a true birthday note. Me, as long as it's got the year, the month, and the date, that's how I like to see it. If I found a note like this that had my birthday on it, I'd be very excited to get it. I wouldn't be saying, oh, gee, it's backwards, I don't want that one. No, I'd take it in a heartbeat. So yeah, 1996, the 13th of January on this particular one. Another birthday note, same problem. This one is 1997. April 27th is how that one would be read, which, of course, like I said, is not a true birthday note, but nonetheless still a birthday note. And like I said, if someone showed my birthday in this particular fashion, I'd still be excited to get it. This one was an interesting note. Check this one out. This one is all pairs. You've got 22, 33, 99, 66. I found maybe 3 of these in all my searches. You just don't see a lot of these all pair notes, 4 pairs. When I see people referring to 4 pairs, they're simply referring, for the most part, to having 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 6s, and 2 9s somewhere on the bill. I don't save bills like that. I just don't. If I'm going to save 4 pairs, I'm going to save them because the pairs are together. So these two, the 2s are together, the 3s are together, the 9s together, and the 6s are together. You'll find notes where there's 4 different digits mixed up in various orders. To me, I only save the ones where they are grouped together in pairs side by side. Did find some trinaries, 0s, 1s, and 4s on this particular note. 1s, 3s, and 5s here, not in the greatest of shape. 1s, 3s, and 7s. This one is crisp. This one was a heartbreaker. 5s, 6s, and 9s for the trinary. And of course, if that 6 was a 5 or if that 5 was a 6, it would be a radar. But ifs and buts, right? Still a trinary. Not going to cry about not finding a repeater. Next up is another trinary, 1s, 6s, and 8s. And then we've got quad zeros. This one was written on, so probably going to go back in circulation. Of course, it's got to be quad zeros that's got the writing on it. It can't be quad 6s or something that's kind of more obscure. It has to be a low number note. So be it. Did find a lot of star notes. A lot of star notes this week. So I'm going to go through these fairly quick. These are fairly good. 2017s. Potential low number there. Trinary, 0s, 2s, and 7s on this star note. More 2017s, all in pretty good shape. This one's a little rough. 2013s. I think I got these in order by year. 2013 as well. This one's a mess. It's a star note, of course. Dirty, folded. Probably will be a rare with my luck. Let's see. Another 2013. Like I said, I had a good pull for stars, so hopefully we'll find some rares here. Another low number here, 002. A little bit older, 2006. And then we get to the old notes themselves. This one's a 1999. 1999 as well. Still fairly rough shape. 1995. Another 95, much better shape. Another 95. Okay, Dallas. Don't see a lot of Dallas. 1993. This is one of the more scarce series. I don't find a bunch of 1993s. They're just not out there. So whenever I find a 93, that's a good thing. And there's my 88A. I believe that was the oldest one in the group. 1988A. Not a web note. Little bit of ink on there. I'll check it. It's San Francisco, so I probably have one already. And of course, the find of the week. Find of the week right here. This is a 2013. And it's a repeater. 49604960. Another repeater found in circulation. I've come across a couple of these recently. I don't know if it's that I've managed to get my brain adjusted to spotting them, or if I'm just coming across more of them now. But I've probably found 3 or 4 in the last 2 months, whereas I don't think I found 3 or 4 in the first year that I was doing this. So yeah, found a repeater in circulation. I got that one all wrapped up in a holder right away. It does have a little bit of a crease here. It's not perfect, but once again, when you're talking about fancy serial numbers, it's not like you can go and exchange this for a better one. Serial numbers are what they are. There's only one of each one, so you don't necessarily have a choice. If you're looking for serial numbers, that's pretty much it. They don't make them. This one is in the H series, so yes, they made an A, a B, a C, a D, an E before that, of course, but you're still talking 1 in roughly 100 million for this exact number. And repeaters, well, you just don't come across them too often. Anyway, that's what I found this week. That's my stack of goodies. So what did I pull out from my box? Well, you guys see me pull out all kinds of really expensive bills in the past, and I just want to let you know that your collection doesn't necessarily have to be a bunch of $100 or $200 or $500 or $1,000 or $5,000 bills, anything that has to be so exotic or expensive or anything like that. It can be stuff that's on the more accessible end, and that's one of the things I brought out today. This is a 1934A. It's a Federal Reserve $10 banknote. Now, it doesn't seem like a big deal to have a Federal Reserve banknote like this, but considering it's a 1934, it is one of the older notes that's out there. And this is not your standard $10 small head note, which is why I wanted to bring it out this week. For starters, the very first thing I want to point out is the serial number on this one. You'll notice it is a trinary, 11191010, so it's all zeros, ones, and nines. That gives credence to why I saved trinaries to begin with. If somebody was looking for a 1934A $10 bill, and I was selling this one, and the guy at the table next to me also had a 1934A $10 bill, I could probably ask $5 more for mine, and I am more likely to sell mine compared to what the person next to me would be selling, just because of that serial number. It doesn't have to be worth 10 times more because of the fancy serial number, but by virtue of the fact that it does have a fancy serial number, makes it so much easier to sell. Which would you rather have, a random number, or for the virtually the same price or $5 more, one with a fancy serial number? Of course you'd take the fancy serial number. That's part of the reason I like to collect them, because I know that when it comes time to sell, when you have fancy serial numbers, those tend to sell quicker. Anyway, let's take a closer look at this. This is a 1934A. This one, if I remember right, is that the lighter green? Let's take a peek here. Here's a more current one. So yeah, that is the light green seal. Now, holding this one up like this, it lets you see a couple different things. This is why I wanted to bring this one back out. First of all, notice the current size of the seal, how small that is compared to how big this seal is here. Okay, so in 1934, they still had the much bigger seal. It wasn't until, I believe it was 1935 that they went down to the smaller seals. Then also the Federal Reserve seal. When you compare the two, you can see how there's a difference in size as well. This one is much bigger compared to the ones we currently do now. Taking a look at what it says here, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and is redeemable in lawful money at the United States Treasury or at any Federal Reserve Bank. So that was the I believe this was the first year they took off the redeemable in gold portion. And we'll take a quick look at the back. Here's the back of the bill. It does have a little bit of a crease running through here, a couple of those there. Let's see, United States of America does not show "In God We Trust" on the back of this bill. And let's take a peek at what the book has to say about this particular note. Like I said, I don't expect this to be worth $100 or $200 or $500 or anything like that, but anything over face is good. So let's take a peek. My book is starting to give up on me. I'm going to have to get a new one. All right. There we go. That's the 50. That's the 50. Where'd it go? 1934A. Series of 1934A. 2006C is the number on that. They made 95 million of these particular notes. About a third as many as they made here. So, not a ridiculous amount of print. This one here starts off at 15, somewhere between $15 and $40 for this particular note. I believe the 15 would be if it was a 20. Yep, BF20. The 40 is if it was in much better shape. So $15 to $40 on this particular one. And that's just for something pulled from circulation. So yeah, the small head notes do have a little bit of value. If you're lucky enough to find one that's got a fancy serial number, that'll help as well. But yeah, having something like this in your collection is still a cool way to add stuff to your collection, especially when you consider, the subtle differences. I've got another 10 over here. This one isn't in real good shape, but it's much newer. This one is a 1981. And yes, you can see how small both of the seals are compared to the old one. And the slight difference in color as well. The backs, "In God We Trust" versus "Not in God We Trust." Slightly different color on the backs as well. Just a slight difference there. But anyway, that's my 1934A $10 bill. Nothing to be ashamed of there. You're talking a bill that's almost 90 years old. So yeah, these may be fairly common right now, but that won't be the case for long. So if you get a chance to get one of these, get one in your collection before they all disappear. All right, everyone, if you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you again next week.